Hello, Fouad.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm great.
Can you introduce yourself? Who are you?
Yeah, so my name is Fouad, and I'm originally from Cairo, from Egypt, and I live here on Ibiza. And I'm a transformational guide and coach, and I've just been going on a spiritual journey for some time, and I've been going through lots of realizations and lessons, and really just learning a lot from my own personal experience, and then wholeheartedly sharing that with people and with the world. So it's something very passionate of mine to be a student and to be a guide for others. And it's something that I really feel it's very fulfilling, um, very worth my time and my energy. And I'm just here to learn um, how to do it in the best way possible, and how to guide as many people and how to create an impact with my work, with my inner journeys and discoveries and um, wisdom that I collect on this path of a human existence. And sometimes there are challenges and sometimes there are obstacles on the way. But I also start to learn and to understand that it's these moments of adversity that we get to collect and we get to um, embody ourselves in the best way possible. And that's always been something that I have been deeply passionate about. So I'm really passionate about growth and transformation, and seeing how um, I can evolve on a personal level, on a spiritual level, and be able to inspire others to do the same, to be able to inspire others to take that type of action or go in that level of commitment themselves. And and just understanding after all that we are really here to liberate ourselves, to free ourselves from all the constraints and all the pressure of um, our society, our governments, our families, our communities, our limited ways of what our culture has shaped us to become, and get outside of all these different, um, let's say, institutes or limitations, and to become more of a whole, become more of a complete person, um, and then share that with the world so that we can inspire others to join that wholeness, and create a beautiful unity for our future, for our species, and to continue walking that path every day and just learning from these new experiences, um, the importance of actually having these experiences, right? Because we have been taught that we have to always, seek something outside of us and to seek something that is not already within us. And I truly believe now, and I wanted to really express that in an authentic way, that this is really when we get to share our biggest wisdoms is through actually going through these experiences and through actually embodying them and speaking out about these experiences. Um, so yeah, so this has been something that I wasn't really able to do in the past, because I recognize myself to have a different purpose for my life, for people around me. And now it's been a couple of years that this purpose that I once identified myself with is being completely is being completely shifted or being completely rearranged in something that is really not in my control. You know, it's something that is really beyond my control, and it's something that involves not just me, but everyone around me. And I feel like there's a sense of relief in that, because you get to know that you're not just living for yourself, also that you're living for something much bigger than you. And that's where the feeling of liberation starts to take place. That we are part of a much bigger whole. But our wholeness first is what we should be focusing on. And I've been on that journey for about 8 to 9 years, and I really love to see the evolution and the progression of the level of awareness that you get to you know, either grow or expand or contract, but you get to start to see clear as you continue going on that journey of self-discovery. So I just truly believe that, you know, it has to always come back to ourselves, and it has to come back from within ourselves, and then it creates this ripple effect that is easily shared with those that are ready to go on a similar journey, that are ready to go on a similar direction and understanding of themselves and the world around them. So I feel very fortunate and lucky to be able to continue going on that journey. And I also feel that it's really important to have the right support of individuals out there that can see and recognize that journey, because for the longest time I always felt that I'm going to do this, or I'm going to fulfill this by myself, you know. And it's again coming back from our upbringing and the way that we've been taught to fit in society, to be in society, which is very competitive and very individualistic, right? And you can see that a lot in the Western world. But I really started to detach from this way of being, and started to understand that it's more of a collective movement, right? And it's through that support that I can get from nature, I can get from other people, that can really help me, you know, grow on this mission, grow on this path, and create a bigger network, or a bigger foundation for that shift, or for that movement to keep, you know, growing and to keep moving forward. So this is also a very humbling also experience to have, right? It just puts us more into this frequency, or this vibration of humility, and I feel like this is something that really is needed in the world right now, you know. Just because of the speed of how we're moving, I feel like the humility really brings us back to our roots, to our essence, and allows us to create more space for that support to come in. Because the more we become individuated, separated, the more that our evolution, our progression is going to be slowed down, and the more that we come together with the, you know, the common ideas and the common energy and the common intentions, then the more we can begin to move in harmony and begin to move to a more shared goal and purpose. And I see that happening in, you know, in some parts of the world where it's like on a very small scale, right? And I'm very passionate about, you know, having all the tools that are going to create that foundation for us to live in that manner, for us to start to have that type of lifestyle and that type of um, of shared being that we can start to implement during these drastic times of shifts and death and rebirth that we are living in right now. So the journey so far has led me to that moment where I'm speaking to you now, and and just sharing, also the importance of not being so attached to what we have been taught or what we have been programmed in the past, but really looking at this moment right now, this present moment right now, as a pivotal point of who you are and who you are becoming, right? And that takes me to us as a collective or as a species to start to live more in this presence pivotal point that we are in now, and detach from what our past has taught us to be or what it's trying to dictate us to be, and that's how we move forward, right? We have to move from that reference point of not being and living so much in our mind, but living more on our in our spirit and in our hearts, and how we can cultivate a better connection with that, so that we can start to make our choices from that space, and start to eradicate more that mental space that has been very much manipulating and driving us for the wrong reasons. And that's where I feel like now this journey, this movement from our minds to our hearts and our spirit is really what's needed for us to come together as one whole, but come connected as one big whole, that is here for a very important radical change of transformation. So like I said, that's why I'm passionate about transformation, because I feel that as I transform myself and I go on this journey of self-transformation, I am transforming the whole that is me into becoming more, aligned, and becoming more reaching that wholeness within me. But also it's helping me become a bigger whole with my surroundings. And I feel like that's the beauty of this work, right? And for the longest time, I really wasn't able to share that, or I could see that and say, oh, okay, maybe someone else has that idea also. Maybe someone else has the same vision. So why do I need to come out and share it? It's already there. But I just realized that I'm the only person that has that feeling. There's no one else like me that has that feeling. There's another person which is uniquely different. So why can't I just come up and just share that as well? And then if we have enough people that are sharing the same goal but offer something unique, imagine how much more we can get done, and how much more could be implemented and changed, because we're all playing a different role in that one whole. So I feel like it's really a very exciting time for that, because more and more people are starting to tap into that authentic place, and tap into that feeling of coming back to our essence, our roots, our where we really came from, and that comes through a very sense of deep remembrance, right? Of us trying to, as we go on through life, starting to remember more who we are in that essence, and that's the journey itself, right? And that's where we can really see the wisdom that only we carry, is through that remembrance, is through that connection to our ancestors, and to really start to embody that truth, embody that possibility of why we're here now at this point, doing what we're doing. And I feel that if more of us were to share that, more of us would be able to inspire others to also to go on that journey of remembrance, right? And I feel like throughout my personal experience, I've seen that there's just so many tools available out there for us to actually, take that leap of faith and take that step to go on this journey of remembrance back to their core, um, and to allow these tools to transform them, right? Um, so I really feel that there is no more time for excuses. There's no more time to to sit back and say, I'm powerless, because this is not the time that we live in anymore, right? We have all the tools that we need there. We just have to start to implement them. We start to activate them within us. So I feel like we are going through a very major point of activation right now happening in the world. And it's only through having these, this depth between other people that are also doing this activation, that it can, become really an unstoppable force. And that force is able to, go through whatever it is that is changing, whatever it is that's collapsing, and really start to become a beacon of rebirth and something new that is coming out. And it's just very simple. It's going back to the ancient wisdom. It's going back to the real knowledge that has been lost throughout thousands of years, and just starting to come back to the surface and embodying that knowledge again, and trusting in that knowledge and in that wisdom, for our own evolution, for our own growth. So yeah, exciting and challenging times, but we are here for that. We are here for that. That role of taking these challenges on and transmuting it and alchemizing them into a much bigger picture, and a much more authentic and truthful, reality that we can start to share with one another. And so, yeah. So if you ask me today, who am I? Is I'm I'm Fouad, but I'm also part of that movement. I'm part of that expanded consciousness that wants to experience itself in a completely different way, right? So that gives me such a drive and such a passion to know that, I'm waking up tomorrow not just because of my own personal needs and interests and contribution, but also that I'm part of this bigger whole that I've always been part of, but I've just been beginning to remember more of how can I be more involved, how can I be more associated with that, and how am I going to inspire more people to join that frequency, that energy that is trying to come up now, that is really starting to be cultivated, let's say in the past 5 years, right? And just seeing that things also have their own pace, and these cycles of death and rebirth have their very unique pace, and that how we can learn to adapt to that pace, right? And just trust in what's unfolding within us and outside of us. And I think when you have that level of awareness, when you have that perception of things, you can take a step back also, and you can also just do your part, but not in a way that you're expecting results and everything to come in the time that you want them to come. And like I said, this going back to the humility that we talked about, the humbleness of just and knowing that we are part of something much bigger than us, much greater than us, and that there's a force in play that is beyond us, right? And that's an awareness and a knowing that will keep us growing, right? Instead of us, you know, feeling or thinking that, you know, we've accumulated all, because we're constantly, as I said, as we're going on this journey, on this human experience, we're constantly, you know, learning and gaining that knowledge step by step, bit by bit. And I see that the problem in the world is that people want it all now. They want to have all the solutions now. They want it, you know, all figured out. And in reality, it's just a process of evolution also that has its time and space, right? So it's really exciting to just witness it all as well, um, and um, and just be in that flow and in that rhythm of these cycles, right? It's teaching us something very valuable and very important for us and for the generations that are coming after us. And I feel like each generation has its own, you know, its own breakthroughs and its own wisdom, and it's important that we carry that within us, right? Because it's always passed on.
Tell me a little bit about your past. Where do you come from? What are some events? What pops up for you? What was a little bit your journey in the past up till now?
Mm. So the journey in the past was a very, I would say, confusing or um, challenging journey of understanding my own identity, because I always felt that since a very young age, I felt that there's a part of me that doesn't belong. Okay, and that caused me to really disconnect from what is good for me, what is healthy for me. So I lived in a long period of time in complete disconnection and I guess a lack of faith in myself and in the world around me. So it was, I guess it was also an invitation for me to better recognize who I am on a more rooted and fundamental level, right? Because the outside was everything that, you know, you were supposed to be or become or to experience, but in reality it was all just very much molded for me in a way, and it wasn't really the essence of, you know, what I was looking for. But I didn't know that back then, and what I was looking for was something that I guess only I had to go and look for. So it was this distortion. It was, you know, constantly trying to recognize or trying to find a certain identity that fits who I am. And it was, you know, these states of confusion and states of living, you know, constantly in my mind and constantly in my head. And it was very destructive, I would say, for my for my soul or for my spirit, right? Um, it was not the aligned version of me, and you know, of course, I just found ways to cope with it, and like everyone in the world, we start to develop these coping mechanisms. You know, some are okay, some are more unhealthy and self-destructive, and I guess it's through these self-destructive patterns and habits that I began to say, okay, maybe that's enough. Maybe this is causing even more damage for me. And maybe I need to start to look in a different direction or start to pursue a different path because it's not working out for me, right? And you know, that's where I guess the deeper knowing began to emerge, and the searching, you know, because I had to choose first that this is not the future, or this is not the direction I want to go based on where I was at the moment. And I had to make a decision and choice to go a different direction. And that just involved a lot of searching and soul searching. And it started with just looking within myself and trying to find the answers there instead of constantly trying to find them, elsewhere. But that's not how I've been taught or programmed. So I really had to begin that journey of let me see, on a deeper sense, on a deeper level, who am I, right? And I feel like it just starts with that first, choice, and then once you really open yourself to it and you really just trust and throw yourself in that place, the clarity that comes is really incredible, and you start to associate your identity, just based on your own experience, again, that we talked about this, and then things from there just start to unfold in the direction that you would like them to go and to unfold. So I'm also very grateful and thankful for that past, right? Because that has been my journey of just remembering, um, you know, and understanding that, the past and the present and the future, they're all simultaneously colliding together, and there's a wisdom in putting all of them together, um, to come to that, you know way of going through these challenges, right? Or understanding, that they're required also for your future. Um, so I've learned that the past is not something also that it will dictate me or will always come with me to the present. That it's just a part of me remembering, how to be more present and how to be more, authentic, and how to be more, myself, beyond all these labels, right? Um, so so I'm thankful for my past. I look back and I say, oh, there was not another way that I could have done my past, right? And there's just something very, um, humbling and reassuring about that also.
What was kind of what can you point out to was the was maybe something what made you go on this journey of finding out more about you? Where was like
Mm.
maybe like a trigger point or
Yeah,
something where you where was the spark of okay, I want to change something. I want to choose a different way.
yeah. For me, it was like the constraints that I felt on myself from molding into, a conventional system. Let's say, being in a corporate environment, being in a very, in a routine that is, it's built and created not by my own self but by someone else, was really the pivotal point that got me to feel that I am entrapped, right? That I'm entrapped in something that, is not based on my own flow and rhythm and pace, and that's where I felt like, okay, I cannot do this anymore. This is harming me. This is harming my soul, right? I need to step out of there and find my own pace, my own rhythm, uh, my own flow in life, and that's where I felt, oh, but for me to get to do that, I need to understand myself better. I need to come back to the self, and that's where really the journey started, and that was the pivotal point of, recognizing that, something needs to change, and taking that action for it to change. And I feel that's where we go through. I don't think we just go through that feeling one time, right? we go through it several times in our lifetime. And then you start to easily recognize more the exact change that needs to be done for you to continue to grow and to expand on that journey. So, and I feel like this point is needed. So it's a blessing also. It's a blessing in disguise to go through, and that's the challenge and like I said, the block on the way. So the block is actually a gift. It's actually a blessing for you. And every time that I look back at these blocks, I can start to identify them as, you know, something that is really happening for my own good, for my own growth. But it's very easy to also get trapped into the trigger of it being something that is crushing you and taking you down. But it's not really. So developing that awareness is what I was searching for. And it was just all about moving from that space in my head and just moving it to a deeper space, right? In the wisdom of my soul, in my heart, and just recognizing that this is where I should, you know, ask for guidance. Um, so yeah, so don't let the past, you know, become a reference point of where you are in the present. Let it be um, a guide and a teacher for yourself.
Where are you today? What is maybe at the moment your mission? Um, what do you do?
Hmm. So I facilitate different ways of transformation through, like I was speaking earlier, coming back to the essence of who you are through practices, through ancient practices like breathwork, meditation, and I also really connect with the natural tools that are out there, or the natural medicines. So I really enjoy working with earth-based medicines as a complementary tool to better help us understand ourselves and um, the environments that we live in. So I'm a facilitator of transformation, and I like to constantly deepen that practice in what I share and in what I stand for. And I feel like, you know, there's a beautiful balance between, you know, going out there and learning, you know, how to improve what you're facilitating and you're teaching, and also just learning from life itself, right? And just constantly sharing both, and not leaving one behind and just, you know, stepping more into the very rational way of thinking. So I think it's like a beautiful dance of experience um, and logic, right? Of truth and knowledge together combined, because one doesn't go without the other. So where I am right now is just constantly trying to bring these two together and embodying that, um, gain knowledge from outside and inner truth together, and inspiring others to constantly do the same in towards recognizing how to heal themselves, because that's one of my, you know, my roles is helping people to really understand how to do that work themselves and to become, you know, supported by others but not dependent on others. And because that's been my biggest, I guess, lesson, is how to become more self-sufficient, but still ask for the support that I need. So that's where I am. That's where I'm trying to, um, you know, expand um my offering and my contribution and service to the world.
How does this look practically? Like, what tools do you use? How does what you do look like? How does it feel like?
Mm. So I would say that my approach is very holistic. So the holistic understanding and awareness of, how to heal the mind, the emotions, our hearts, and our spirit, and just combining different tools that are, associated with each element, and combining it together under one foundation or one umbrella, that can educate people how to live through that holistic lifestyle. Um, so, working with meditation helps you to really understand, the essence of the soul and the essence of your own being. Working with, an earth medicine like toad medicine, it's really helping you to understand, the truth and the frequency of, our the universe and our own experience related to it. And then, just being supported by someone that's already been through that, experience or that challenge, like, mentoring or coaching people to take all these different elements together and integrate them into, like we talked about earlier, into the wholeness, right? So I feel like my focus has been a lot more on the integration process of it, and I feel like this is, really misunderstood now, or not put deeply into consideration, just because of the nature of the world and how things can easily become more commercialized, and lose its essence. So I feel like I'm constantly observing and trying to see, where the essence has been lost, and bring it back. And that's what I, want to achieve with my personal healing brand. And I've called it the Modern Ashram, and it's about, keeping that essence alive and keeping that wisdom, and making sure that, people are getting that type of education and awareness, and bringing, different minds and different people that are on that same mission, and putting them together, and facilitating a container for that wisdom to be shared.
What you pointed out that integration is so important. What does mean integration for you,
Mm-hmm.
and what what is the outcome,
Mm-hmm.
or what to integrate,
Mm-hmm.
how to integrate maybe also.
Mm-hmm. Um, so it's integration for me. It's about taking the smaller pieces of, our experience and our life, and, like I said, bringing it into a wholesome place within us. So it's not about losing one aspect and one experience and leaving it to go to waste, but it's actually embodying it in what we stand for, in what we represent, in what we um, um, are trying to share. So it's integration for me is just so important, because it's about putting the small pieces into the bigger picture, and not losing these little pieces, and making sure that, you know we get to really make use of the tools that have been given to us, and not lose track of that, um, just by you know ignoring or just neglecting the experience itself. And what you asked about, how to do that is through change, is through radical change, is through dedication and discipline. And when we get to discipline ourselves to embody that change every single day, we are already starting to integrate these lessons, and we're starting to embody them. But if we are, constantly just returning back to the old ways, which I see also, in people and the collective, just changing, the image of it, but still the foundation is the same. We don't go anywhere. So, I think we are constantly in between these two states of experiencing and integrating. And you don't really need to take, a psychedelic or a plant medicine to actually integrate something. It's just a concept that we need to come back to, and not make it something that is foreign. It's something um, that is really required from us as a collective to do together.
Where are you or where are we heading to?
Um, so I'm gonna say we. We are heading to you know one place of uncertainty, and it's the unknown. But also we are heading into I would call it a healthy way of separating from what's real and authentic and what's fake. And so many of us have been preparing for that, for this direction of knowing that, if we have collected and embodied that truth since this point, then we are heading from a place that is more familiar, is more authentic, is more enjoyable, is more liberated, and is more effortless and simple to us than what we've known in the past. So, if you ask me where I'm going somewhere where I feel I'm more liberated, more expanded, more held, more supported, and and more at ease with myself, and feeling that these circles around me are also on that same level and on that same understanding. Um, and hopefully that becomes, the new norm that it's around us. And I feel that's already happening, already taking place. So it's just a matter of continuing that deep trust in where we're heading, and cultivating that faith in that. That's really what's required of us right now. Because once you know and once you see, there's no turning back. There's no place to turn back. That's the beauty of it.
Do you have a message to an individual or a message to the community?
Mm. Um, well, I think from what I've been talking about earlier, it's very clear that, you know, no matter what we do, and no matter, the guidance and the support and the tools that are out there, I feel like everything around us is just bringing back to ourself, and it's bringing us back to um, who we are on a very fundamental and who we are in a very divine nature. And my message is to don't ever lose hope of finding that place. Just keep going, and there's a time for you to find it, and to um, you know continue to embody that place within you, because that's what's going to change the world. That's what's going to um, create a ripple effect that we are not even, we can't even imagine could be created. So come back to the self, come back home, and start to recognize and embody that as your own truth.
What do you offer at the moment to do this journey like together as yeah, it's speaking to somebody individual, but you can ask for help, you can go together with this as a collective. So what is at the moment you're offering? How to go this journey together?
So I feel, for me, it's about creating these containers and creating these. Maybe they're called symposiums. I don't know exactly, what to name them, but um, it's just gatherings where we come together, and create a space to heal, to share, to play, to have fun, and to, you know, see ourselves in each other, right? And to see what's missing and what's reflected in these containers, and how we can use them as an example on a much bigger scale, and just start to um, expand them, right? And bridge them into different parts of the world, and different parts of um, our cultures. So, so I feel like that's really what I'm passionate about. Also, is creating these containers, and creating a platform where we can do what we're doing now, share more about our own individual truth. Because right now there's a time. It's also a time where there's so many different um, ways of seeing things and belonging to things, and that's absolutely fine and it's needed. But I feel like there's also a much common um, goal that we're striving for, and I feel like in these containers we can learn more how to put our very personal views on things aside, and just see what's best for, you know, the whole container, for the bigger picture, and start to, you know, develop that within us more.
Is there anything you want to share on? Well, I got another question. Um, what's within this space your mission?
Mm. Um, so my mission is to create that vision where people could have this kind of space and container where they can start um, to heal, to remember, and to take aligned action with their own mission. Um, and I think that's always been my mission, and I don't think it's ever going to change. Um, but there's just so many creative outlets to do it, and I feel like my mission has more to become, um, you know, doing this mission in the most creative way possible, because I feel like creativity has such an important role in our evolution, and um, it's much needed in these times of adversity and shift and, you know, pain that the world is going through. So I want to combine that divine mission with a creative outlet for it to become lighter, for it to become more authentic and expressive and joyous. Um, um, and that's really what I feel is my biggest mission right now.
When you can plant one seed, one thought out there, maybe one sentence or two, what would it be?
Um, trust in your abilities. Trust in your gifts now more than ever. Deeply trust them, and don't let anything get in the way of you expressing and sharing that.
Is there more you want to share?
Mm, there's always more to share, but I feel like, you know, I've consolidated more or less, you know, what's present with me today.
Perfect. Then I
Yeah.
say, Fuad, Fuad,
Fouad,
thank you so much for the interview,
oh,
and
thank you.
yeah, really grateful to get to know you better.
Thank you so much, Kevin. It's a pleasure.